Okay, that errand is done, and we're going to go on the road. Got to be kind of careful these days, Driving is perilous activity. We live on a very small island. It's 108 square miles, and you better believe that there are more cars on this island than people. All right, so here we go. Let's have some fun. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Take it easy. What's wrong with you, John? All right, so guys, I gotta tell you, the program that I was talking about is, as I said, it's called the Empower Network. Now, I'm sure you've heard of all kinds of programs. People want you to sell coffee. People want you to sell medication. People want you to sell all kinds of stuff. And I think deep down inside, we know that the system is usually set up for us to lose and for them to win. And since 1997, when I was searching for something that works online, I personally, I hope you don't mind the shaking, because another problem with living on an island is that we don't have nice roads. But so if you can bear with the shaky camera for a little while, yeah. So I'm gonna try to find a nice road where we can do this without me, bouncing you all over the place. Yeah. So as I was searching online, one of the things that bothered me with just about everything I saw was that in my back of my mind, I can tell that this was not set up for me to win. It was set up for somebody else to win. And just like almost everything else in all of our societies, it's usually set up so that we can just simply get the drippings of what is left after somebody eats the cake. And I'm tired of getting crumbs. I'm tired of just getting what is left back. Well, I am ready to have my cake. And so it became very frustrating searching for any kind of program or any kind of system that allowed me to have my cake. I started my own business and I thought that was it. And then the system changed and everything became hard, and all of a sudden there was rules and taxes, and by the time you looked around, it just suddenly became almost impossible to have a cake. I was back to eating crumbs, and I did not like it. It frustrated me and it depressed me. Now, some people become depressed and they give up, and some people get depressed and they're motivated to fight, to search. And I believe that the Lord blessed me with the ability to discern things, and sorry, a little distracted here. Yeah, the Lord blessed me with the ability to discern things, and I'm able to pick sense from nonsense. And as I continue to study this whole concept of making money, improving my life, improving my lifestyle, improving my family's situation, kind of just solving problems, because we all have problems. Yeah, so as I continued along this journey, I became more and more frustrated, because I could tell, it's a gift I've always had, I could tell without even getting started that this was not going to work. And it's not because I'm skeptical or negative, it's because I'm analytical and factual. I mean, it's just plain, 1 and 1 is always 2. So if I look at what you are offering me and I can't add up 1 and 1 and get 2, then something's wrong. So I'm most likely going to avoid it. Now, but I knew in my heart that the day I found a system where 1 and 1 always added up to 2, I was in, I was committed, I was going to give it all that I had. And today, 2014, almost 20 years since I first began searching, I can say that I have found something that has made me very comfortable. And it has made me comfortable enough to actually come on camera and share it with you. Now, the whole concept of it is it's so simple, it's so straightforward, it's so easy to understand that for a little while there I couldn't even believe it. I'm still searching for the catch. I'm searching to figure out, okay, what goes wrong. And I'm going to tell you very frankly that I kind of figured out, searching through this particular program, the Empower Network, that the problem is not the program. Because every program, no matter how hard it is, no matter how complicated it is, no matter how much you can understand what PV and BV and RV and SV and etc. means, there are people within that program who are doing very well and who are earning money. Therefore, the problem cannot be the program. The problem has to be the person. So just like society, the way society has been designed, all of us, we're set up in a sort of a mindset that says, this is your place in life. You are a worker. You are a bum. You are a developer. You are a healer. And so if we're not fitting into some one of those categories, then we feel as if, well, maybe we're doing something wrong, because society has given us this blueprint of who they think we should be. Now, what frightens me every day is when I look at how many people, almost 90% of every society of every world, locked into believing that this is who I'm supposed to be. This is it for me. This is all that I am. And I have never been comfortable with that. As a child, I remember growing up and my mom said to me 1,000 times, John, why are you so contrary? Why is it that you, well, the word she used was opposite. You are so opposite. She said to me that if I say black, you say white. If I say this, I say that. And at a time when I was young, I didn't understand it. I actually, for a while there, thought that there was something wrong with me because I just couldn't see things the way everybody else was seeing it. I just couldn't understand these expectations that the world had of me. And I never fit into any kind of mold. I went to school and my friends all behaved a certain way, and they all thought certain things, and they all spoke a certain way. And even those that seemed to have the ability to think differently wanted to be accepted, well, kind of including me. I had in my school days, I used to dumb it down a lot. Literally, I used to, because what I found was that every time I joined the conversation ended. People would be talking about something all excited and verbally, whatever, and I would listen and I would hear point A, point B, point C, and I would realize that from my analysis that there was something missing, and then I would find the complete crux of the matter, and I would say something. I would open my mouth finally and I would speak, and I would ruin the conversation. How did I ruin the conversation? Because after I said what I said, I solved the problem. There was no more issue. Nobody had anything else to rant about. Nobody had anything else to say. It just ended conversation. So John was a conversation ender. So whenever John came around, people got quiet and walked away. And as soon as I realized that, John stopped talking. That was it, because I mean, I was a teenager, for God's sake, and I just wanted them to like me, just like everybody else does, you know? And to be honest, it bothered me inside. I felt like deep down inside I was doing something, I don't know, I can't even explain it, but it bothered me. And I found that throughout my life, all the years, there were many situations where I had to dumb it down. There are many situations where my opinion was too complex, too complicated, or just simply too, I don't know. It's as if after I spoke, everything got quiet, and it just happened so often. So I stopped talking. I became very quiet. I stopped socializing. I spent all my time in my house, and I didn't come out because, well, I always felt like there was just nothing going on out there. And while I was there, I was doing my business and doing okay, and keeping to myself with a very small group of friends. And by small, I mean ridiculously small. I'm almost embarrassed to mention to you how many friends I probably had. But during that time that I literally spent by myself, I began to analyze myself. I began to look at me and I got to ask myself questions. What am I doing? What is my purpose? Why am I here? What is the purpose of this journey that we're living on this earth? What is the purpose of this, of our relationships with each other? Am I here to make a change? Why was I blessed with this much of intellectual activity going on in my head all the time? I can't sleep, I can't rest, it's just going. And then I'm stuck on 108 square miles, with 80,000 people who don't listen to anybody anyway. So it's not like I could talk to them. And why am I here? What was the whole purpose? And I spent many years introspecting, looking into myself and studying the others around me. I always considered myself, ever since in school, I always considered myself to be an observer. I would be observing what everybody else was doing, and well, let's just say that the analytical ability that I developed studying the world and studying what's going on in my own society, I became very frustrated, because I felt as if, well, how do we help people? How do we solve their problems? I wanted to solve problems since I was a kid. I am now an adult, actually 40 years old, and I'm still trying to solve problems. And I just want to be that guy that solved a problem, something significant. And what was the biggest problem? Well, the biggest problem is lifestyles. How are people living? How are their lives? The life standards that we're living at, because our society has told us that this is how we need to live. Is this where we have to be? The first thing that society tells us is education. You go to school, you go through the school system, and you either pass or you fail. Some people pass very high, some people pass, some people barely pass, a lot of people fail. Society immediately says, you have no future who failed, you who pass can get jobs. And maybe one or two of you will go forward and do something great. And we know who the one or two are in our country. They're the ones that they put on the radio every now and then and say, this person has achieved something great. And then the rest of us would be like, wow, we always knew that person would achieve something great. And then the rest of us are happy that one of us made it. Is that enough? Couldn't all of us have made it? I think we could. So I'm going to break, because you've heard enough from me for a second. And when I've reached a place where I can chill out, relax, and stop bouncing you around on my camera on these ridiculous roads that they won't even fix around this positive election time, let's just say we will talk some more. All right, so stand by. This is John. I'll be back.